Hi everyone, this is Hana from South Korea. For me, the British band Oasis is personal. In the 90s and 2000s, when you thought of British rock, you thought of Oasis and Radiohead. These two bands have had a particularly strong influence in Korea. I had never been abroad, never even spoken to a foreigner, but I would sing along to their music videos. When I stood like Liam Gallagher and chin up and looking down on the world, I felt like the coolest kid on the block. For a long time, interviewing Noel Gallagher was on my top 3 bucket list. It was a dream. I used to tell people the day I interview Noel Gallagher will be my last interview in my career. I just felt like he was the final boss, the last artist I needed to meet. So when I heard that Noel Gallagher, who had already experienced the legendary Korean daechang or sing-along, had agreed to an exclusive interview with me, I literally jumped up and screamed. We met backstage before his headlining show at a rock festival in 2015. His waiting room had a huge Manchester City banner hanging in it. And I drank the Yorkshire tea that he made for me himself. Unlike his stage persona, he was careful with his words and considerate and incredibly relaxed. Our 10-minute interview stretched to 30 minutes. And just as I had always said, after that interview, I left my job at the magazine and I left Korea. And then, 10 years after, just a few weeks ago, Oasis announced their reunion. Of course, a world tour date in Korea was on the list. But then, just the days before August 15th, our National Liberation Day from Japan, the band posted a video with an image that looked shockingly like the rising sun flag. Korean fans were furious. Some called for a boycott. Others tried to explain calmly and desperately, hey, Oasis, to us, this is the same as the Nazi swastika. The band never apologized. The image is still on their website, and they probably never will. They might think it's more rock and roll to ignore the criticism. But the problem is, this ignorance, this arrogance, is a form of violence to the victims of war crimes and to all their descendants. If Oasis had used a Nazi swastika, calling it a cool pattern, their career would be over instantly. And this brought back a strange, uncomfortable memory. The memory of my British friend Kevin. One day, he showed up with a big smile, wearing a bandana with a rising sun flag on it. I tried to hide my shock, and I struggled to find a way to explain why he had to take it off without hurting his feelings. When I told him how the image was like a knife twisting in the wounds of war victims in Korea, China, and Southeast Asia, he said, "Oh, I didn't know," and apologized. But I could see that there was no deep understanding in his eyes. To him, it was just a strange piece of history from a faraway land about a different race of people. It had nothing to do with him. What was that strange distance I felt? In the West, when you learn about World War II, you learn about Hitler, the Nazis, the Holocaust. The occasion war criminal equal Germany is burnt into the public consciousness. But the history of Japan's war crimes, the Nanjing Massacre, the Comfort Woman, the infamous Unit 731, is often just a footnote in textbooks and the media. So the occasion, war criminal Japan, is blurry for many people in the West. On top of that, for decades, Japan has been incredibly successful at rebranding itself as a nation of peace, technology, anime, and sushi. In Hollywood movies, Japan is almost always portrayed as cool. The rising sun flag, taken out of context, is often consumed as just another cool Asian pattern. For us in Korea, our colonial experience is tied to our national identity. August 15th is just not a date in the past. It's a living part of our history. But for many young people in the West, Japan is not a former aggressor, but a country they want to visit. This is the great imbalance of memory. So, is ignorance an excuse? Is it cool for an artist who sings about resisting the system to be so apolitical? In this confusing, chaotic world, what is the one thing that can protect us from each other's difference? Have you watched the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once? That movie gives me the most profound answer. The movie confronts the nihilism of our digital age, the feeling that nothing matters. This feeling is symbolized by the everything bagel, a black hole of meaning. And the weapon the movie offers to fight this giant void is not some superpower. It's one small gentle phrase, whispered by the husband Waymond. Be kind. In the movie, kindness isn't a passive feeling. It's an active, strategic, and courageous form of rebellion. Waymond fights not to escalate conflict, but to de-escalate it. He fights to find a common ground to empathize. The main character, Evelyn, finally realized that the truth, nothing matters, is what gives us the freedom to choose what matters. Meaning isn't something you find. It's something you create through act of love, connection, and kindness. Tired people defend themselves with a cynicism. The attitude that says, the world is all the same, trying to be good is just hypocrisy. It's a way to avoid responsibility. Kindness is more than just being nice. It's about respecting another person's existence. When nihilism declares all meaning is gone, kindness responds, and yet the fact that you are here is precious. Kindness is a choice. It requires effort. It's the small effort to try and understand another person's history and their pain. That is the most powerful and perhaps the only weapon we have in this chaotic world. Maybe the most revolutionary act in an age of nihilism is to truly listen to someone else's story. It's easy to become cynical when you are tired. It's easy to feel like nothing matters when the world feels broken. That's why kindness isn't just a personality trait. It has to be a conscious decision and attitude for life. I'm trying to be a kind person, and I hope you will choose kindness too. So that's my story for today. If you found something meaningful in this story, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and join our community. And if you have any questions about me or life in Korea or the Korean language, let me know in the comments down below. Welcome to Hana's Island. You are safe here now. I will see you soon. Bye for now.